Did you know that Redondo Beach splits into two very different neighborhoods? Most people picture the beach, the pier, and even the Riviera village. Like, that's Redondo Beach to them. But North Redondo, that's a completely different vibe. I was guilty of that misconception myself. My first trip to California over 35 years ago, when I came here from Illinois to visit, I went to Redondo Beach. That was the first place I visited. And you had the ocean, the palm trees, the beach, just the vibe in general. I thought that was Redondo Beach. Now, fast forward 10 years from there, still about 25 years ago when I first moved here, I still thought that was Redondo. And I had a friend that told me to come over and visit. He lived in Redondo Beach, gave me his address. I put it in, looked at the map, and I said, wait a minute, that's not Redondo. That's east of Hermosa. What is that? So if you're thinking that way, obviously you're not alone. I thought that way, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people that think that way as well, which is exactly why I made this video. I'm Ben Larson with the Larson Realty Group, and today we're breaking down the differences between North Redondo and South Redondo. Things like the commute, housing, schools, lifestyle, and stick around to the end because I'm going to give you an idea of who North Redondo is for and who may be a better fit for South Redondo. And if you're thinking about moving to Redondo, check out the description here of the video. I've got a link to a great relocation guide, so go ahead and grab that over there. And now let's jump into it. We're going to start with one of the most important daily realities, and that's the commute and how easy or maybe difficult it is to get around in North and South Redondo. The North Redondo offers quick, easy access to the 405 and even the 105 freeways, making commutes to El Segundo, downtown LA, and even LAX way easier and faster. Many residents choose North Redondo specifically for that reason and how much easier and quicker it is to get on the freeway and get to some of those locations. Now, South Redondo, on the other hand, lies farther from the freeways. To get on the 405 or the 110, you often have to drive along busy surface streets like PCH, which is Pacific Coast Highway, or Prospect Boulevard. Even going on Hawthorne or Crenshaw, it just makes commuting longer, especially during rush hour. South Redondo typically suits people that either work locally here and maybe on some of the Torrance business areas, or maybe works from home, or just works in something locally here in the South Bay. So just to summarize, in North Redondo, you're going to get easier freeway access, shorter commutes, and South Redondo, you're going to get more of that beach lifestyle, but it's going to come with a little bit longer drives when you do have to hit the freeway. Next, we're going to dive into some housing styles and what you kind of get for your money in these different areas. Let's get into a little bit more about housing. In North Redondo, it's going to be dominated by what we call tall and skinnies. You're going to hear that term. They're exactly how they sound. They're tall, skinny homes on 25-foot wide lots, 2,500 square feet lots, typically somewhere right around that range. What happened was there were a lot of 5,000 square foot lots, and the zoning made it where builders could divide those, and they could take that 5,000 square foot lot with one home on it, and they could divide it into two lots, two 2,500 square foot lots, and then they could put a home on each one. So now that same 5,000 square feet now has two homes. You could sell those off separately, and that's how now in North Redondo, we see a lot of those tall and skinnies with 2,500 square foot lots. The other thing that comes with that is you're going to see reverse floor plans where the bedrooms are actually downstairs and the living space is upstairs. Overall, you're kind of getting more for your money there square footage wise in the home. The lot size and the yards and things like that are definitely limited. They're typically 3 beds, 2 to 3 bathrooms, somewhere in that range. I helped a client recently buy a tall and skinny. It was a great home for them. They love it. And it actually is only a block away from Jefferson Elementary, which is one of the best schools here locally. And I'll touch on that a little bit later with the schools. So in North Redondo, you're also going to find what we call 2 and 3 on a lots. So it's kind of a similar situation I talked about with the 5,000 square foot lots. There are also a lot of 7,500 square foot lots, and some were smaller, but it was very common. 7,500 square feet. They can split that up. They don't split the lot actually, but on that one lot, they're able to put 3 townhomes. And so now we've got 3 on a lot, or they break it up and they put 2 on a lot, and they're bigger. A client of mine recently bought one of the 3 on a lot townhomes, brand new construction. And yeah, it's a little bit closer to the other 2 units that are there, but it's brand new construction that they wouldn't have gotten at that price in a regular home. And you will see some of those in South Redondo, but it's a lot more common in North Redondo. You're going to see a lot more of that. The housing is a little bit tighter. It's a little bit closer quarters living wise. So something to think about for North Redondo. And now to South Redondo, you will see some of those 2 on a lots, 3 on a lots, like I mentioned, but you're going to see a little bit more variety. So those bungalows from the early 1900s, single families usually in the 50s to 60s, some of those oceanfront condos, those may be a little bit newer. Some of the townhomes we talked about, those will get you a little bit newer for whether it's in North Redondo or South Redondo. They're going to get you a little bit newer, typically in the 80s, 90s, 2000s builds, even all the way up to just recently. You'll see those still being built. So that gives you some comparison between the two. North Redondo, you're going to have a little tighter quarters. Sometimes you can get a little bit more for your money. Like we talked about earlier, it is going to be closer freeway access. And in South Redondo, you're going to get a little bit more variety in the homes. You might get a little extra customization. Won't be so cookie cutter. So you just have to think about, what's a better fit for you. So next up, we're going to talk about beach access and some of the lifestyle. Beach access is going to give you two very different experiences between North Redondo and South Redondo. North Redondo isn't directly on the sand. It's inland, like I mentioned earlier, just east of Hermosa, Manhattan Beach. So most residents either drive or they bike or take an e-bike. It's 1 to 3 miles over to the strand, the piers and the beach itself. So this means in North Redondo, you're really kind of more beach adjacent, and the beaches you're going to probably aren't even Redondo Beach, because you're going to go straight west typically, and you're going to get Hermosa or the Manhattan Beach beaches, which are amazing beaches. So there's nothing wrong with that, but you won't be going to typically Redondo Beach. On the other hand, South Redondo is true coastal living. Many pockets are blocks from the sand, either the Esplanade, the pier, or even the marina. This is where what we call the Strand, which is the big sidewalk that is on the beach that goes all the way from basically South Redondo, goes all the way up through the beach cities. It goes up into Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey, takes you all the way up into Santa Monica and beyond. So it's quite a ride. It's a lot of fun. It's great exercise. You can just ride and enjoy the beautiful weather. But if you want to take it a little easier, there's a lot to do here at the beaches and the marina. There are things like paddleboarding, kayak rentals, whale watching, lots of great people watching, and your weekends can honestly be 100% local and car free if you really want them to be. So South Redondo is going to give you that quintessential beach vibe, where it's very pedestrian friendly. It can get touristy if you're over on the pier. It's very local heavy though if you get down into the Riviera Village, where there's lots of shopping and dining and lots of activities going on there. So that kind of breaks down the beach access and kind of the vibe and the lifestyle in the different areas between North Redondo and South Redondo. And next we're going to get into a topic that's pretty important to a lot of people. It's the schools. I'm just going to kind of give you a sense of what schools are in different areas and which ones kind of feed into the others. Both North and South Redondo have very highly rated schools, and schools and ratings are something that as a realtor, I am not supposed to touch on very much and get to and give my opinion. It's up to you, what's important to you, what scores you think are great, but I can give rankings, I can tell you where they are. That's what I want to do here. So the district itself is ranked within the top 10 in the state of California. So very highly rated, and it's actually been increasing in that rating recently. So that's always a good sign. Just to break things down a bit, Redondo Unified School District has 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and 8 elementaries. And it's basically the assignments are strictly by address. So always verify with district maps, but I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of what's where. So in North Redondo, you're going to have 5 elementary schools. There's Bernie, Jefferson, Lincoln, Madison, and Washington. And then all of those feed into Adams Middle School. And then in South Redondo, you're going to have 3 other elementary schools. There's Alta Vista, Barrel Heights, and Tulita. And those 3 typically feed into Paris Middle School. And then, of course, both middle schools will feed into Redondo Union High School, which has an A+ grade, and it's in the top 20% statewide test scores and graduation rate. So as I mentioned, always check boundaries yourself before you buy or rent something, and definitely check the school scores, because all of that can change at any time. This is just the information that's available at the moment. Now let's talk about restaurants, shopping, and kind of the overall vibe and things you're going to be interacting with really on a daily basis here as you live your life in Redondo Beach. As with the other sections, we're going to see some really distinct differences in the shopping and restaurant vibe between the two areas. North Redondo really centers around Artesia Boulevard. So there's casual Mexican, Italian, teriyaki, and you also have the South Bay Galleria Mall. So we have it at the moment, and I say that because there's been a lot of talks about it being developed and the mall shutting down. those talks go back and forth. Right now, it's still there. There's an AMC, there's a food court. A lot of the stores have closed, but there's still stores. And then there's a Target nearby there as well. So you're going to get all of that really to choose from. And that's kind of going to be what you're going to find in North Redondo. But like I said before, it's close to Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach. So it's just a quick drive or an Uber. You shoot over there and you've got some higher end upscales, restaurants, shopping, a lot more to choose from there as well. And in South Redondo, we're going to have the Riviera Village right at the heart of it. There are over 300 boutiques, cafes. There's some upscale to casual restaurants, depending on what you want. And there's a weekly farmer's market. A lot of great events that happen there in the Riviera Village, whether it's over the holidays or the summer, lots of stuff to choose from. And then you always have the pier and the marina as well. Some really good seafood spots, great happy hours. And of course, you're right on the ocean, so you get some pretty amazing sunsets, whether you're there just having a drink or having a nice dinner. So that gives you a little sense of what's going on there. In North Redondo, you're going to get more practical type errands and activities. It's more car dependent, really kind of everyday errands. And in South Redondo, you're going to have more pedestrian beach village, some shops, eating, beach hop a little bit. You may not need to drive quite as much. Now we're going to get into the last section, the one I promised earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit about each area and who each area might be the best fit for or a good fit for. Depending on you, which one might you lean towards? Because as you can tell, they are pretty different. Now, I'm not going to say who should live in one area or the other, but I'm going to say what things might make this a better fit for one person or the other. And of course, you get to choose or ask questions. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to chat and talk more about it. So let's get into that a little bit more here. North Redondo is typically perfect for daily commuters to El Segundo, West LA, anyone that needs to travel to LAX a lot. You can be there in 15 to 20 minutes. And buyers that may want to get a little bit more for their money. And of course, you got the great schools in both areas. Think aerospace, tech workers, and people that want to be close to Hermosa and Manhattan without paying those types of beach city prices. And as we talked about, South Redondo, the fit for someone there is going to be a little bit different. A lot of times you're going to get more remote workers, people that can just work locally here in the South Bay, some of the Torrance business corridors, retirees like to walk on the beach daily, lifestyle buyers, just people loving the Riviera Village. They like that local South Bay vibe, or even locals that have been here most of their life. A lot of times it comes down to people that are willing to trade that 15 to 20 minute extra commute in order to have that beach lifestyle, maybe be able to park your car for the weekend and not see it again until Monday. And some people don't even have that extra commute, and that's why they live here in South Redondo. Neither one's better. It really just comes down to your priorities. We know if schools are important to you that you've got great schools in both sections, and either way, you're still getting that South Bay, Redondo Beach vibe, which everybody loves. So as I mentioned earlier, if Redondo Beach is on your list, definitely go to the description, click the link for my relocation guide. And of course, if you're looking at any other areas, check out this video on the screen that will help you check out some of the other areas here locally in the South Bay. So again, it's Ben Larson with the Larson Realty Group. Thanks for watching.